Welcome back to Giants Latest. It's training camp week, which means that football season is officially here, and I am so excited. So today we're going to focus on defensive players to watch because I actually think that there are going to be some good competitions this season, and there are so many new players on defense that are going to be electric to watch. We don't need to talk about the defensive linemen, the defensive line as a whole in regards to the edge rushers. You know how I feel about Abdul Carter, Brian Burns. I cannot wait to watch those guys. When it comes to Kayvon, I'm excited to see him in person because from what I heard this offseason, he bulked up his upper body quite a bit and seems like he added more strength there, which hopefully he's going to be able to utilize to get guys to the ground so he can get to the quarterback. That's what I would like to see out of Kayvon this year. So, the edge rushers, it's really kind of just like the drills and stuff that are a little bit exciting. But I think for someone like Abdul Carter, we're going to get to see that speed in person. I want to see, them collapse the pocket, but also the offensive line do a good job blocking. So, that's going to be interesting from that position. But I think the actual more important competition from a camp perspective is the interior defensive line. Obviously, we know who Dexter Lawrence is. There's no worries about him. The question is who's going to be next to Dexter Lawrence on a regular basis, probably get the bulk amount of snaps there unless Bowen goes with a heavy rotation there, which is a possibility. And then the second thing is when Dexter Lawrence needs to come off the field and take a break and get some water, who is filling in for him? So the good news is that there actually are quite a few defensive linemen that the Giants are going to have the opportunity to pick from. So I want to run through that list quickly and then talk about the guys that I'm the most excited about. So here's the entire defensive line for the Giants right now. Darius Alexander, Elijah Chapman, DJ Davidson, Corey Durden, Elijah Garcia, Chauncey Golston, Dexter Lawrence, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Raheem Nunez-Roches, Jordan Riley, and Roy Robertson-Harris. So options, like we said, right? Obviously, Dexter Lawrence, there's no questions there. I think that Chauncey Golston is also going to be a big part of this defensive line. I could see him being a guy who steps in when Dexter Lawrence comes out because I think he's going to have similar power and speed like Dexter Lawrence has, where he's going to be able to get to the quarterback. So I think he's going to be a really good rotational guy, and I'm actually really excited about him. And he's someone that I think I would focus on during camp because I think that we're going to see a lot of him. Next up is obviously Darius Alexander, who is the Giants rookie pick this year. I'm super excited about him. The only real question that I have is how much playing time is he going to get, because he was limited in the spring and the Giants said that he was dealing with some sort of injury. So Joe Shane and Brian Dable are speaking to the media on Wednesday before camp starts, and that is going to be the first inkling that we get as to what is really going on with these guys with injuries. Where is Andrew Thomas at? Where is Darius Alexander or Scadaboo? John Runyon Jr., who Dable said that he had surgery this offseason. So that's when we'll finally get a look at these guys and who is going to be ready to go. If Darius Alexander is not ready to go and we do not see him this summer, someone else that I'm excited to watch is going to be Jeremiah Ledbetter and Roy Robertson-Harris. I'm going to lump those two guys together because they were both brought in this spring as veterans. And I think that those two have similar styles and similar game capabilities that there's only going to be room for one of them on the roster. And the question is, who's it going to be, right? Which one of them could get the advance and take that step forward during camp? So from the defensive line, those are guys that I'm also excited about. I love Nacho. I think he brings a really great element to this team. He's a veteran. He has a lot of experience. He seems to be outspoken. And, he came in as someone who was supposed to be better at stopping the run. And he wasn't horrible at it last year, but he wasn't great. So my question is for someone like Nacho is, can he take it to the next level? Is he more likely to be the Dexter Lawrence replacement when Dexter is out? Or is that going to be Chauncey Golston? Or is it going to be any one of these other guys that they have on this roster? They did like Jordan Riley. He's a guy that they drafted a couple years ago. They brought in Elijah Garcia last year. Elijah Chapman, who's a guy who also came out of nowhere last summer and stuck out as someone who ended up making the team because he did such a nice job during training camp and into the preseason. So there's always guys like that who seemingly come out of left field and end up making the roster. A couple years ago is Tomon Fox. David Sills, we all know what happens. The David Sills preseason, he's a preseason legend for a reason, okay? Not so much translates during the regular season, but it happens every year. So this year, who's it going to be? Is it going to be someone on the defensive line that we hear a lot about? I think that is a very big possibility. So I'm excited to watch that rotation. I think it's going to be a good one. Next up, I want to talk about safety because I think we all know that the safeties are what they are, right? Like we know it's going to be Javon Holland. We know it's going to be Tyler Nubin. Those are the big starters. But there are a couple other safeties on the roster, and let's do the same thing. We'll run through them and then talk through who I think is most likely to make it. So we know Dane Belton, of course, Anthony Johnson Jr., Raheem Lane, and Makari Page are the other ones outside of Nubin and Holland. Now, Dane Belton has been on this roster since he was drafted by the Giants in 2022. It's his last year with the team as of right now, but he is someone who always has stood out during the summer. He's a guy that we talked about a lot this offseason because he brought in a bunch of interceptions. He seems to be all over the field. He is a ball hawk. Joe Shane talked about that, which is one of the reasons why they first drafted him those few years ago, because they really liked those capabilities. And he actually is someone who has had the turnovers translate during the regular season. He just has not been great in other areas of the field, which is why he hasn't gotten so much playing time compared to some of the other starters. But I do think we will see a lot of Dane Belton this year. From what I understand, I think the goal is to use him more as a free safety. So I think he's going to be that third safety that's on the field in certain different packages. And I'm excited to see that from him. You know, he's a guy that has that ball hawk mentality. So does Tyler Nubin. Let's see it this year, guys. Force those turnovers. Let them do that in the secondary. That's what I want our team to be known for this year, is number one, getting to the quarterback, and number two, forcing the quarterback to make bad throws, which will lead to interceptions. Because this team was atrocious at it last year. And I hope that, you know, this whole treasure chest thing that Shane Bowen wanted to do this offseason, it seems to translate. Will it translate during the regular season? I hope so, because we need to score a lot more interceptions this year. Now, someone else who I really like, who I think is going to be an option for this fourth safety role, and I've talked about him before, is Makari Page. He's an undrafted free agent out of Michigan. He's 6'4", 208 pounds, 23 years old, and is obviously just a rookie. But he's got good speed. He has a lot of good intangibles from a safety perspective. He's very athletic. And I just feel like maybe he needs some technique help. He probably needs some things, obviously, that he needs to work on. But I think that if this coaching staff can really help him develop that, I think he can maybe end up being a Dane Belton replacement if the Giants decide not to keep him for whatever reason. So he's someone that I'm really excited to watch this year. I do also know that they like Raheem Lane, who is another safety. He's 5'11", 192 pounds, 26 years old, and his third year with the Giants. So he's been with this team. He's more so been a practice squad guy, but he's gotten some reps here and there. Again, not great, not awful, but I'm leaning towards the fact that I think Makari Page could beat him out for the roster spot, but it'll be interesting. I think those are two guys, if you're interested in the safety position and want to see what goes on there, I think those two are the most important. Like I said, I just think Page is going to be that guy. I think Raheem Lane has been here long enough at this point that he should have done enough to solidify a spot by now, and the fact that I feel like he hasn't really done that leaves it open for grabs, and I think Makari Page can end up being that guy to do it. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the cornerback, because that I know everyone is like very worried about Tay Banks, which I'm right there with you. I get it. But I think ultimately we have to have a little bit of faith in Tay Banks, because I think that there are a couple reasons why he's going to have a better year this year. So he is not going to be the cornerback one. He's not going against guys like Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. So I think that's going to make a big difference. He was really good his rookie year for the Giants when two things. Number one, he was in a scheme where the focus was that the defensive line puts pressure on the quarterback. Remember when Kayvon Thibodeau had 11.5 sacks? That was 2 years ago. That was when Tay Banks had some of the pressure put off him. And that was when he only gave up 4 touchdowns as a starting corner for 17 weeks. I'm pretty sure he played all 17 games. And then he was covering the number 2s as opposed to the number 1s. So I think going back to that is going to make a really big difference for Tay Banks this year. And I know it's not Wink's system. I know that. But they brought in Abdul Carter. They have 3 really good edge rushers. They have Dexter Lawrence. Their focus is going to be getting to the quarterback. And I really think that they're going to be capable of doing it this year. They were capable of doing it last year, and they did it until the offense couldn't get their crap together and score any points. So I think that we're going to see a really good defensive line again this year. We've talked about this extensively, and I think that that's really going to help the corners. So I'm putting my faith in Tay Banks. I think he's got a renewed sense of attitude that he's going to be good that he's going to be able to bounce back this year. That's what I want to see from Banks. I'm really excited to see Drew Phillips, who is in his second year now. He did a really nice job last year making tackles behind the line of scrimmage, and I want to see him continue that this year. Also, Paulson Adebo, I know we have to be excited about him, right? New guy to the team, veteran, a lot of experience in the league. I'm super excited to see what he can do. And again, he's a guy that's going to take some pressure off of Tay Banks, which I think is also going to help him. The questions that I have around the safety position is basically, about the cornerback position is, if God forbid someone goes down, who is getting that starting role? Now, we talked about this a little bit. I think it's likely to be someone like Cordell Flott, O'Donnell Fortune, or Art Green. The question is someone like Trey Hawkins going to be able to make the most of the snaps that he gets this year? He's kind of been hit or miss in his Giants career so far. But I think that there's a lot of room for competition for the backups because Cordell Flott is the only one who seems to have done enough every single year to get starting playing time. When you look at all the other guys on this roster, we haven't really seen a lot of Art Green. We haven't really seen a lot of Trey Hawkins, Corey Black is new to this team. TJ Moore, Nick Jones, D. Williams. Like, these are guys that, are going to have the opportunity to really prove that they deserve that backup role if God forbid someone goes down. So I'm excited to watch all of them. O'Donnell Fortune, South Carolina guy, most excited about him. But I do think it's going to be interesting to even see a guy like Trey Hawkins, to see a guy like Art Green. Can they step it up if they get those starting snaps? I have a little bit more faith in Cordell Flott because it's his second year in the system. He's been here for a few years. He seems to know more of what he's doing than some of the other guys. And he has gotten enough snaps in the slot and on the outside that he has some NFL experience there. Some of the other guys, I'm curious if they're going to be able to push their way to the front. So it's going to be interesting. This is why I love camp. The competitions are fun. It's great to see these guys up close and personal and see if they can really make plays starting from now. This is the chance that they have to prove to the coaching staff and to prove to everyone else that they deserve to get snaps with the ones. And time will tell if they're going to be able to do it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all things New York Giants.